Good.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
All right, great, thanks. Switch
About
sides
what?
with you. So it's a little bit about the past and a little bit about like the present.
Okay.
So what does slavery mean to you?
That the slave totally loses all his rights, and the person who owns a slave has all the rights.
Right. So it's
Doesn't seem fair when you say it like that.
yeah, that's kind of like the definition of oppression,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
when somebody has power over somebody else or someone else,
Yeah.
and they use that power no matter what the cost, really. Like,
True.
do you think that animals can be enslaved?
Yeah, they're the very definition of slaves. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Like, why do you say that? Like,
I grew up on a farm here in Adams County, where we're at.
right? Yeah, local.
Yeah, I'm local actually. York Springs.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't really argue that. Is there people that argue that?
Yeah, some people do.
Okay.
They just think that they're here for that, so they can't really be.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Like, yeah. So, you would agree that like animals have their own like personalities and things
Definitely.
like that? Like,
Yeah. It's a sheep farm, by the way. And
yeah.
as I grew up, I mean, 4, 5, 6, the different sheep definitely had different personalities. Some of them much more aggressive. Some of them would just want to get along with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
And we took their wool
Right.
every year. So they didn't own the wool. We owned the wool.
Right.
If it would go to court. I mean, we own the wool.
Yeah.
We're feeding them. So, yeah, very definition of slaves.
Yeah. So, like you would agree with the cows and pigs and chickens and in like factory farming, that's like probably like some of the worst that we do.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a video about the sheep and like the wool industry where they took the sheep and they like dunked them in like some solution or something like that.
Yeah.
Debug
them, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't really know much about it, but in the bigger farms, they have like a machine that does it. And like it would like sometimes when they bring them out, some of them would like drown because they keep them under there like too long and they couldn't, or like they can't breathe. They can't like hold their breath. Like
well, they don't know it's coming.
Yeah, and they hold them under there for like almost a minute or something like that. So like, yeah, when they don't expect it.
This is how we did it. We had a tank. It was honestly about this deep, and then about this long, that wide, and they would jump in it.
Right. Yeah.
Their heads, and then at the end it was slats to get out. But
and they would just
they'd jump in, and the next one was looking, and they'd actually push him in, and the next one would get put, and they just were nosy, and then they would get in, swim over the other, not swim, but get to the other side, and that was all we did.
Yeah.
We got along with our animals, but
yeah, that's nice. Better than.
But not, and then our big thing was we thought we were doing wool. It turned out the big thing was the lambs. And we had lambs in the spring. Certain people loved lambs, and they would come directly to the farm and give us top dollar for it,
Right, yeah.
So imagine that horror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to have kids, and they're the first ones to go.
Yeah.
The older sheep would make it to 6-7 years, produce one lamb every year, but that was the prize. That was really, when my dad got into it, we thought it was going to be the wool. But that was in the 60s, and the wool industry was going down really quick. But this lamb thing came out of these people from Harrisburg knowing we had lambs, and yeah, that's kind of what took over. And then had enough of all that and sold the farm.
Right,
and moved in town. But that happened in the middle, very early 70s.
Right.
Pardon me, late 70s. I graduated in 1980. Sorry for being such a windy guy.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. That's really interesting. So, Do you think that if your morals and everything is kind of telling you that you're against like the animals being enslaved
Yeah.
and being treated poorly, do you think that you support these industries in some of your everyday choices?
Can't help it. Can't help it
Yeah.
living here in America. Once in a while, I'd say I try. And we live in East Berlin. And we buy local, but they're animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really disturbing. I'll tell you what I seen about 3 weeks ago. It was this dog. They claimed this dog knew 150 words, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the dog had this like buttons that it would push.
Oh yeah.
Feed me, feed me. It learned some other ones, and the dog had like, I'm going to say, 80 buttons to push.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
it's on Google or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
But
I've
the
seen
dog,
videos of like a dog with one or two,
yeah,
but not 80 of them. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so
and
cool.
he put sentences together.
Yeah, wow.
But the one dog, it was a big like Labradoodle, curly. Why am I a dog?
Right?
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Because a dog, and then if it has consciousness, why the hell do these humans get everything? And why am I begging him for food? This is bullshit.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why am I a dog? And it's like, oh man, if that's what dogs are thinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They didn't choose to be born what they are.
Yeah, like why? So if any animal would ask that, well, you're here so we can eat you. Little baby
Yeah.
peeps come out, and if they have, I hope they don't have consciousness, but that dog,
Yeah.
that was disturbing to me.
Yeah.
Why
So
am I a dog?
like
Why can't I have my own house?
all these
Why
animals,
can't I date Linda?
they do have like a certain amount of consciousness,
Yeah.
and they're aware of,
Have you ever had a
what's
dog?
going on. Yeah.
Yeah, then they're
Yeah.
real.
So there's studies that show that pigs are just as smart as dogs too,
Understandable.
and I didn't actually know that. Another cool fact about pigs is they'll actually, when they're like in the wild, they'll go out and pick flowers and bring flowers back to like their home and just to decorate it because they think it looks
Oh, wow. Yeah.
like I didn't know that. Like
I didn't know that. I never heard that before.
so yeah, like there's some and cows are just like big puppies too. They're like big dogs. Like
That's true.
they just they're kind of like big and clumsy.
That's true.
So they're not as playful like, but
Yeah. And when they're little, the cows run around. Why isn't anybody else running around? They're fun.
Yeah.
Cows. Yeah.
Yeah, even in like the dairy industry where milk and cheese, like
Yeah.
to get milk and cheese, they have to they kind of they're torturing and enslaving the cows and they take the babies away from them and
All true.
nothing's really good in any of that. So
Yeah.
have you ever thought about living vegan and just kind of rejecting that exploitation of the animals? It seems like all your morals, everything's kind of telling you that.
It does point in that direction. Yet, I will partake of cows and chickens.
Yeah.
And I don't. Me and the wife, we haven't done fast food for 5-6 years. Not even slipped up and had a one. But I bought 3 of it, and I don't plan on going 3. Not to. Yeah, I'm just trying to be honest with you because
Yeah.
eat enough.
That's fine. It's not. It doesn't. My opinion doesn't really matter. It's really it's the animals.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, so
You got to do it.
good.
You got to do it for them. Just try to put yourself in their position. Like how many more animals
I don't know
would you
how,
want to be
how do you get around
exploited?
it? How do you get around it?
So-
How do you get people? How do you?
You can eat like tofu,
Oh,
tempeh. If you're talking about a diet,
Yeah.
and then instead of getting, leather, you just buy more cotton.
Oh, yeah.
And just more plant-based stuff. There's products that are tested on animals, so
Yeah.
you can choose the products. If they have a little bunny on them, that normally means that they weren't tested on animals.
Oh,
So if you look for the little bunny, Sometimes it'll say cruelty free, so
Nice.
that'll mean that it's not tested on animals.
Yeah.
And any food that has it'll have a V on it for vegan.
Yeah.
So that's what I look for when I shop for food.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we're on a greatly reduced meat, but not meat free.
Yeah.
But when like now I'm coming out from wrong, but like if we have steak, it's I don't mean it's a holiday, but to us it's like maybe 4 times a year we'll have a steak. Yeah. So greatly reduced, but still up with the Holocaust, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I like to use this kind of extreme example. When people say that they reduce a lot.
Yeah.
If I were like against beating women, but I went around and I beat women 5 times a week, and then I reduced it to just like once a week, and I was saying that I was against it, but I was still doing it 1 time a week, would I really be like against it, or would that be a good thing, or would it just be like...
It would be a compromised moral thing, because I only beat her once last week. It's better than I beat her 6 times last week. Took Sunday off, but so
right, yeah, it's like
it's marginally better. It's not.
But it's
no way around it. It's not. It's a compromise. Yeah.
It's still not a good thing. So, and to that one animal, it was its whole life. So, if I would you want to see some of the
No, I'm aware.
Footage
I've
of
watched
what goes on in some of those places.
And I'm a pipe fitter, which is like industrial size plumber, and I had friends that had to install an assembly line at a chicken plant, processing plant, right? Not a chicken murder capital, chicken processing plant. And they said, they couldn't watch it. They couldn't do it. But the chickens, they said, the worst part about it is the chickens know it's happening.
Right, yeah.
They get a 3-minute thing and do this, and and they're like, why can't they just, lop off their head and one, hey, look at this nice corn plant. Really?
Right,
and then, their last thoughts are wonderful thoughts, but
that's how you wish it would happen, right?
Their last thoughts are horror beyond belief.
Yeah, it's like that for cows too. They normally see what's going to happen. Yeah, they'll slit their throats, and then they pick them up. They're supposed to not be conscious anymore.
Yeah, but
when they pick them up, but sometimes they're still bleeding out. They're still conscious. They pick them up, and they're still dying. So it's horrible. There's a factory, or not a factory, a slaughterhouse in California that was under investigation at the end of last year. They just released some footage of them breaking a lot of the rules, using equipment they're not supposed to be using.
Forklifts to pick up cows sideways. I've seen it, man.
Yeah, and pretty much everything that they're not supposed to be doing, they were doing, and it was I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow. But yeah, it still happens, and there was a local turkey plant here that was under investigation.
Yes, New Oxford.
Yeah, so even local. Some people think that local is better, and in your case with your farm, you were treating the sheep a lot better than when they use the machines and stuff.
Yeah.
But speaking on turkeys locally, they probably are coming from that factory slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I think they process 8,000 turkeys a day or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's that's
no good. Good way to sell that. Yeah.
So I live vegan, so I reject all that exploitation on the animals. I just choose to purchase plants instead of the animals. So, and then I'm just kind of out here talking to other people about it to see, if they, are kind of open to the same thing, because I kind of wish somebody talked to me about it sooner.
Yeah.
Nobody really talked to me about it before.
You can devote. I'm talking about you now.
Yeah.
Man, it's a tough sell after a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a title change of. It's like a title change of it.
Yeah.
And you can't do legislation. I mean, you could, I guess.
Yeah, eventually,
but that's
if there's
40, 50 years away.
Enough people,
We just had a switch around here,
Hmm.
and coincidentally, they are meat eaters.
Yeah,
By
so
their power
it's
structure.
there's some kind of contradicting things that they're doing, right? Because
Yeah.
in the new administration, they're for like a lot of the meat industry and stuff like
They
that.
are.
But at the same time, I saw that they're trying to shut down a dog testing facility. I think it's in New Jersey.
Yeah.
They still do all these like medical tests on dogs, beagles actually, specifically beagles.
Remember the beagle thing?
So I heard that they're trying to get that to finally be shut down for good. So I thought that was a good thing.
Yeah.
So, but
Step
yeah, I
in
think
the right direction.
we all need to just consider our choices a little bit more at the end of the day. If our choices have essentially a victim at the end of them, when it includes the animals. So I have a little bit of information here that I'm kind of sharing with people. If you want, you could take